Everybody, welcome back to Off the Record, and we are ready to do something really kind of phenomenal. The whole basis of doing Off the Record is to basically reach out to a lot of my friends in the music business, a lot of legends for legendary records, legendary albums, and kind of get their spin on things, but music of today and how music was back in the days with them. So my first guest right here is my man, drummer extraordinaire, and you are familiar with his work. I believe the Gap Band made a little tune called "Outstanding." Yeah, that man wrote it right there. My man Raymond Calhoun. What's up, baby?
What's up, T? What up? What's up? Or maybe I should do this. Nah, I better not do that.
Look, let me forewarn everybody right now. Calhoun go in, and I ain't gonna say clown. He's just gonna tell the truth.
So I was gonna clown, man. Look, I just was clowning today. I wasn't clowning. I was kind of real serious. And then I'm gonna make a public announcement to y'all, all you whoever listening. Look, I got my shot today. I went and got my shit.
He got the COVID shot.
I hope all the rest of y'all. I got my COVID shot today. Now, I might wake up with 3 legs tomorrow. I might wake up with one of my nuts is bigger than the other one or something, but all I can tell you is I got my shot. You know, I went and got my stuff this morning at over in the hood. You know, right. That's how they do us. You know, I called my doctor's office. And say, look, can I just come there and get my shot? He said, we don't have it yet. You have to go in the hood. I said, wait a minute, I got this whole PPE, I got this good ass insurance through my wife, and you telling me I can't come there and use it to get my shot that's gonna save my life? I'm sorry, Mr. Calhoun, you gotta go over to the hood. You gotta go over on Martin Luther King, you know, and Crenshaw.
Wow.
At the old Sears building. They converted the old Sears building.
Ooh, wow.
I think I still owe Sears some money. They convert. I think they converted the damn Sears buildings into the local shoot all you niggas up with the vaccine site. So I just had I look, the Dad's band, we got dates coming up soon. Cool. Bobby said everybody in this band better get a shot.
Okay.
If you don't, you ain't doing them. So okay. That's why I went ahead and just got mine, got out the way. I got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, I felt a little funny on the arm a little bit first. That was it. Made me sit there for about 15 minutes or so just to make sure I didn't just pass out or something. But other than that, I could just tell you it was all right. I don't know how it's going to be tomorrow, but God willing, it'll be good.
I'm praying for the best on that.
Amen.
Now, look, first things first, like I mentioned before, I believe that's the Gap Band's biggest hit, Outstanding. And
one of the biggest. It's been used more than any song in their catalog. Yeah. So as a matter of fact,
taking care of you on that, brother.
Well, you know, I'm taking care of myself on it because, you know, recently I got on. I think I talked to you before, and I explained to you how I got my publishing back after 3 decades.
Yeah.
Of getting all my rights back.
Yeah.
So I just recently last year in 2020 got all my rights back. And that's a good thing after 3 decades of never having my publishing rights.
Yeah.
You know, I still did all right, but I didn't. That's just like if you had $1 and somebody took 50 cents of it.
Yeah. You got a point.
You like, oh, I still got 50 cents, but somebody else got your 50 cents.
Somebody else got your 50. Your 50.
Got your 50.
Yeah.
They ain't do shit to get it.
Exactly.
But they have it for over 38 years. So
man,
that's terrible. You're sticking the money you lost in 38 years.
Exactly. But I'm sure it feels good to have it now.
Yeah, but God is good now. I have 100% back. And you know, it feels good. It feels like I took care of business to be able to do what you have to do and I encourage anybody that writes songs to know your business. Because when I was in my 20s, I didn't know my business. Luckily, I remembered certain things like this recapture law that enabled me to remember, oh, it's been 30 something years. I need to get a lawyer because I think after 30 something years, the license can revert back to you. The copyright can revert back to you, but you have to make the steps to make that happen. If you don't make the steps to make that happen, then that window disappears and then you lose it for perpetuity, which means forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been a good thing, and I've been lucky, man. Outstanding is I've been doing a little research because I've been trying to do some admin deals with some different publishing companies, and they tell me that it's an evergreen song. It's part of the evergreen songs.
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool to know that.
So basically, it's saying like just that one song is good. Well, it'll actually outlive you and me.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's up in there with Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" and all the big songs like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a beautiful.
That's a good feeling. I mean, especially I told you this before, Terry. Last time we spoke, I told you that was the first song I ever wrote in my life.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, it's crazy how they came to be. But
God is good,
man. But it came at a time you really needed to write it.
Oh yeah, it came at a time when I really needed to write it, and I prayed on it and asked for it. Absolutely. And He delivered for me.
There you go.
And in just that order. So for real. So. But yeah, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
So now we got the spiritual set out the way. Let's get the Calhoun side. Let's get the Calhoun side up in here.
Here's the Calhoun side. Now, I normally don't do this, but let's just keep this party going.
Yes, sir.
How many of y'all saw the Grammys last night?
Ooh. Look, I'll be honest with you, Calhoun. I have not watched the Grammys in over 10 years. I've been.
What?
I'm dead serious. I will give you my take on this. Me personally, I miss your era. I miss real musicianship. I miss composition. I miss the whole gambit of jam sessions. I miss, picking up a real set of sticks and playing like you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just miss real music. So I get it. You got stuff going on with well, the part I wanted to touch on about Beyonce, and I'm not dumping on Beyonce in any shape, form, or fashion. She's won the most Grammys historically, which is cool. That's not a small feat. But at the same time, I have to ask that question, compared to what? Like, let's say they use the 70s. The 70s, you had a plethora of talent, man. You had, Roberta Flack, Gladys Knight, Stevie Wonder, Elton John, Donny Hathaway. You had a plethora of our music being exposed and in some cases exploited, but you had more talent out there to actually compete versus it's bullshit. That's just my opinion.
Right. Well, Beyonce, for one, ain't a bullshit artist.
No, she's not.
To me, she, and I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying to you. I'm just trying to give a comparison.
Yeah.
Beyonce is a pro, man. She was a pro when she was young. So if you ask me, she paid her dues. Tried to fight through this.
She paid
and her parents and her paid her dues. And if you ask for in comparison why she got the 27 Grammys. I think that was a plug to say she got the 27 Grammys, whereas it was supposed to be white folks. It was supposed to be some white folks that had gotten that like that.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Well, she came through like FloJo and just snatched that motherfucker and just said, "See ya," and kept stepping. You know, instead of giving it to Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish. They still got to get there. They still got to get to those 27 Grammys. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Beyonce got it, man. So she got the title now. Come take that shit from me, like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I respect her highly for that. I don't think that was no mistake. I think her work speaks for itself.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? I heard she wasn't even supposed to be at the Grammys, but she came to support her girl Megan Thee Stallion. And I heard they put her in there, put a table in there for her and Jay, like at the last minute. That's what I heard. I heard she wasn't even supposed to be there. But she came and she conquered and slayed and got up on out of there. And much respect for Houston. You know what I'm saying? Houston got some bad folks down off in there.
Historically, we've always had that. The Crusaders. Joe Sample came out of Houston. Johnny Guitar Watson came out of Houston.
Yes.
Billy Preston came out of Houston. That's just a few.
Yeah.
So we got some legends that come out of here.
You got some legends that come out of there to represent.
Absolutely.
But ain't none of them got that 27 Grammys like Beyonce. So right now she like the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. So, you're right. And so now, go ahead.
Now, ask me something about the other part of the Grammys. So
go ahead, man.
Tell you about another part. Another part of the Grammys. I was drunk, and God forgive me, no disrespect, but I was drunk and I was having fun watching it because I normally, like you, I don't really watch it that much because I think personally, coming from the Gap band, for example, I felt like that. I think we have enough. I think the Gap band had enough, track record and songs to kind of paint the R&B world, the R&B business, and the music
should have got a Grammy.
That they should have had gotten the Grammy. Even back then, should have gotten the Grammy.
Exactly.
But it didn't happen.
Right.
For those reasons, we don't know why the society, the Grammy organization, picks and chooses who they want to give one to.
Right.
I still feel that Charlie has been nominated 9 times
and still has not
in his solo career.
Yeah,
and still hasn't gotten a Grammy. That is a slap in the face to me.
I agree.
I mean, Charlie, put a lot of shit on the map for Black artists. Yeah. Just as well as people like Stevie Wonder, the rest of them. But he put a lot on the map. He deserves a icon Grammy or a greatest survivor Grammy, whatever kind of Grammy you want to give him.
Right.
Since you don't want to give him one for his music and his talent, give him one for his his legacy. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel that he's being robbed for that. For like, this is the second year in a row. I think that he hadn't even been nominated.
Right.
Now before he was getting nominated like all the time, 9 times, this and that. But so that I had a problem with that last night watching it, coming from my views on seeing people that, no disrespect, I was saying that I was having a good time. I had a couple of drinks, and when Megan Thee Stallion started stripping, because that's what that was to me. I've been to strip clubs before. I ain't gonna lie. I know every ass move that they do at a strip club, and I saw that last night.
Right.
Okay, from her and Cardi B. So I was throwing dollar bills at the screen and shit. I was like, shit, y'all gonna have a strip show on this? Let me throw some dollar bills. Some dollar bills. I was just throwing them, just having fun. I had a drink, a drink or two, and I was like, that's what the Grammys can turn into now. Instead of giving icons like a Grammy, y'all give them to strippers. Okay, well, have some of my money here. my girl was cracking up. She was laughing and rolling. I was like, I don't care. I ain't no shame in my game. I almost wanted to film it and put it on Facebook or something. Terry. Because Terry, my ass. I put some crazy shit on Facebook.
Yes, you do. And look, I'm so glad 45 is out of office.
Woo! I was having fun with him, man. I'm kind of mad he's gone. I ain't got nothing to talk about there.
Man, if y'all have ever seen Raymond Calhoun's Facebook page, I mean, for 4 years, actually 4.5, 5 years solid.
Still ain't left.
This man went in with no remorse about 45, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say 45. So,
dude, I made videos. Did you see some of the videos I would put
bruh.
together? I was like, boy, I need to be a director.
Yes, sir. Dude, you put full theatrical, all that good stuff.
I was like,
stuff on 45.
Man, I wanted to get him, bro. I can tell you, I wanted to get him, bro, and I'm so happy he ain't there now. Just destroyed our country.
Right.
And I'm not, but yeah, but other than but going back to the Grammys though, I thought it was put together pretty decent with Noah hosting for what the circumstances of not having an audience.
Right.
I thought Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak killed it on both their songs.
Okay.
And that's that thing where you got some real musicians and some youngsters like them representing the old guys and killed it. Just straight slayed it, you know what I'm saying? My hat's off to both of them cats. Like, although I'm kind of pissed at Anderson because I saw him at the airport one day and I gave him my phone number and said, hey man, let me get your number. And he gave me his number. Yeah, oh yeah, man, here you go. And I called him, he ain't never answered. Oh.
Come on, man.
I kept blowing his phone up, man. I was like, come on, Anderson. He lived right up the street from me. He lived right up the street. He up in Oxnard. I'm right down here in West Hills. I'm like, come on, man, let's hook up and do some, some playing or some writing something together. Yeah, man, let's do it. He had just came in from Bali, so he had his little surfboard shit. And but that's the young mentality, man. They ain't think about no old nigga like me. They like,
well, you know what? Well, no, I am, because we've been boys for a good while. So I gotta ask you this, and I'm always liking to pretty much test your wits on stuff. Now, you being a drummer,
I can play a little bit.
Oh, I know that too.
I'm just saying, I ain't.
But I knew you to be on. You was on that 4, man. You was on the 1. So who would you consider? One part question: who would you consider your major competition back in you guys' heyday? On live.
On the R&B tip, funk back in the funk days.
Yeah,
everybody. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Every night we would play with like Larry Blackman or Cameo. Larry's a beast on the drums.
Yes, he is.
Was a beast on the drums back in the day. After we done our set, or if they opened before us, whatever, my eyes would be peeled on it. And Larry would put it. He used to sit on this 12-foot drum riser, and I would check him out every single night and just pick up as much stuff as I could from him, because especially putting it on the 1. And the stomp that he had, just putting it on the 1, the way it made the music just feel good without overplaying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would never overplay.
Yeah.
Never. Back in the day, it was so solid and so locked. So Larry Blackman was a huge influence, man. And I always said, because when I came from a real jazz background growing up, so when I got to play some funk, I said, I'm not going to be using all them jazz chops, fusion or whatever. I'm going to keep it on the 1.
Right.
You know Charlie didn't like you to overplay back in those days anyway.
Okay.
So nowadays he let his drummers do whatever the fuck they want to do. But back in my day, he was always like, if you ain't putting it on the 1, go home. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was thinking, because I remember when I first saw you guys as the Gap Band. I remember first seeing you guys. It was in New Orleans. Matter of fact, the lineup consisted of, as far as the bands were concerned, the Barkays, One Way and Al Hudson, Ashton and Simpson, Mays and Frankie Beverly, and you guys closed it. So I found it very hard to find anybody to close or to even come after you guys, because y'all like ripped the set, man. So for you to say Larry Blackman, that's a pretty deep one for me to hear. A lot of people don't give Larry his props on the drums though.
Back in the day they did. Back in the day they did all day long. Nowadays, the drumming nowadays is becoming like I call it, like my friend calls it in church. He calls it tomming. Says drummers play with the toms more than they do the kick and snare now.
Right.
He says they all over, all over that shit.
Right.
Instead of kicking it, keeping it on the one and kicking snare, but Larry Blackman wasn't like that. He had a lot of drums up there, but you would rarely see him even go around the drum kit. He would just slap and it would feel so solid. You know what I'm saying? And all of their routines and all of their grooves would fit around his drumming. You know what I'm saying? So
I got to hang around George Clinton about a month ago, and me and Scarface, we got a real lesson in a lot of stuff on the one, man, and it was truly enlightening. Everything that all the musicians that were in the whole Funkadelic, Parliament Funkadelic, Rides of Funkenstein, Fred Wesley and the Horny Horns, Boosie's Rubber Band, the whole camp, the whole P-Funk mob, man. And just to know how musically, how everything came together for those classic albums. Because I grew up on that stuff. So when you guys came along, it gave it more of an electric sound to it. More poly sound with the synthesizers, but y'all still had y'all nucleus was still there, So that one, the Talking Back is one of my favorite cuts. Just because of the Moog bit, the synthesizer based on it, and but that pocket though, that pocket was always solid. So who would you consider? Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was going to ask, like, who would you consider your top 5 major influences on the drums?
On the drums?
Yeah.
For me, there was always Buddy Rich.
Ooh.
In this order, Buddy Rich. You just talking about overall period?
No, just
not in a
for you
genre.
For you, don't matter the genre. Don't matter the genre.
Oh man, John, it was always Buddy Rich first, Billy Cobham second, Tony Williams third, Lenny White fourth.
Wow.
In those eras, and then as the car started going along, Dennis Chambers was always, because me and him are from the same area, Baltimore and Washington. I knew Dennis before he became the huge Dennis Chambers. I knew him when I used to work in a music store in Washington, D.C., and he'd come in, 5 sticks, and I'm selling them drumsticks behind the counter, and I'm seeing him warm up on the drum counter, not knowing he's going to go on to become like this,
monster,
you know what I'm saying? And we became friends, But back, we was kids, 19, 18 years old, you know what I'm saying? Wow. So, and, Tony Williams, Jack DeJohnette, Elvin Jones, Art Blakey, Max Roach.
Now, all these youngsters that might be watching this, Raymond is saying these names, and I'm hoping that you will pick up, YouTube these people that he's mentioning. Take the time to study these guys' music. There's a lot of chops, and these are guys who played with no overdubs. This wasn't drum programming. This is actually live playing. So I'm hoping that you all will pick up on some of these musicians that he's mentioned, because these were monsters back in the day.
Yeah, these were the guys that were in my influence growing up playing. The guys that I'd come home from going to their concerts and stay up all night trying to figure out what I just learned. Too bad they didn't have a tape recorder or nothing to record, or an iPhone to record it.
Right.
But all I had was my memory to try to remember what they were doing, and but that was like my whole influences were those kind of guys growing up, and so and then you got the thing about me is I always stayed up with whoever was making great drums playing. You know what I mean? Like, because when I got to LA or when I went to New York, I was listening to Steve Gadd, Steve Jordan, all the top New York drum session guys in New
Right.
York at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then I came to LA. It was Indugu. It was Jeff Porcaro. It was
Yes.
James Gatson.
Yes.
It was Ed Green. It
Oh,
was Melvin Webb.
yeah.
Those cats.
Man.
When I came here to LA, and then started doing sessions myself and started becoming part of that whole clique of guys. Because a lot of people don't even know I played on. You might know that I played on a lot of records back in the day from some major people like Nita Baker, James Ingram, all these records that I played drums on that were, a part of my session experiences back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And those records became called part of R&B culture, pop culture, or whatever.
Well,
not just the Gap Band. I played on all the Gap Band records, and I shared the drums with me and Ronnie Kaufman, the other guy that played on those Gap Band records, and Melvin Webb and James Gatson.
Yeah,
they played on the Gap Band albums as well. So
what are your thoughts? I remember when you guys when everybody tried to go to more of the electronic sound and the Simmons drums and the Lynn drum, things of that nature. How did you feel when that transition started coming more into play?
Well, when we were doing sessions back in the day, there were no drum machines, none of that.
Right.
Drum pads, none of that. It was all a click track if they chose to use one. Or in our case, I can't even remember not one Gap Band record where we used the click track.
Really?
Not one record. Not one record. I think Charlie and them didn't believe in click tracks. The way Charlie and them used to do it, we used to have this engineer named Michael Evans, and we'd come in the studio and Charlie would say, run the tape and just let it run. I mean, we could be sitting around eating pizza or some shit and the tape would still be running. I'm serious.
You know what? I believe that. Pizza. I do believe that.
And the tape would still be fucking running. And if it run out, he'd go get another multi-track, take that sucker off, flip it up, put another one on there, and then all of a sudden, Charlie would get a bass, because Charlie played the hell out of the bass mini move.
Yeah.
He played bass mini move on practically all the Gap Band songs.
Okay. That I believe.
And he would just get a fucking vibe.
Yeah. Because that was, well, you know what? It was so nasty, especially when you're looking at Burn Rubber, Early in the Morning, Party Track, all that. I mean, those like, you just knew how to get back in the pocket. Yeah. He could flip around with it and get right back in the pocket.
Charlie would jump on the mini move and start messing with the oscillators. Tweaking that shit.
Yeah.
He'd do that shit every session, you know what I'm saying? And
wow.
Then he'd find that sound and shit. And then either Ronnie Kaufman would jump on the drums or myself, or I play percussion and he played drums.
Yeah.
And then somebody would join in on the guitar or keyboards. And we just would I count it off and just go for it and play that shit for one tune, play for damn near 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. 30 minutes.
And 30 minutes was nothing. And for the record of all of you fans out there that know about the Gap Band's, the hit record off the Gap Band 3, Humpin', if you listen closely, right before da-da-da-da-da, it is the background goes, Calhoun, you ready? And you hear Calhoun in the back going, yeah, kick it.
Yeah. And that was recorded in a 8-track studio in Nashville. Because he used to I tell this story all the time. Charlie used to like to record everywhere he'd go. I don't care what city it was. He'd try to find a studio and let's just go in there and record some shit. Try to come up material for the album. So we went to Nashville and our bus driver had a studio. And we went in there and that studio was raggedy as hell. I mean, that shit was raggedy as shit. The drums didn't have the bass drum didn't have had a hole in it.
Wow.
And we like, how are we gonna record? We ain't got no bass drum here.
Wow.
And he put some tape on that motherfucker. Charlie's like, put some tape on that motherfucker. He put some tape on that motherfucker. And
wow.
I start taping up the bass drum head like this shit. I'm down on my knees trying to tape up the head, and he over there. Come on, all right, let's get recording. All right, come on, Calhoun, you ready? And I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't finished taping the head up. Then I jump up and shit. Yeah.
And little did you know it was gonna be a classic.
Just that shit. Hey, we played that shit for like 20 minutes or 25 minutes. Just that.
Wow.
And just played it. He played it. No stopping. Just played that shit. That shit was locking all up. And we were done. And he grabbed the tape, brought that shit back to LA, and the rest is history. Used that same multi-track.
Wow.
Came back to LA, added the vocals, did some more overdubbing. They came up with the vocal ideas on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we recorded a lot of records. Like we were in Chicago when we came up with Oops. We were on stage in Chicago. Came up with Oops Upside the Head. Either Chicago or Detroit. We were on stage when we came up with the groove on Oops Upside Your Head. And Rudy Taylor, God rest his soul, he was our sound guy, our manager, our road manager, everything, writer, everything. You always knew Rudy had something because he'd be doing his head like this. He'd be like moving his head like this and shit while we were on stage playing a groove, and he would be coming up with some shit, some ideas. Hey, oops, say.
Wow.
He would just be coming up with some ideas and shit, and then we get back to LA, and, somebody would record it, on a cassette, get back to LA, and we go to the studio and put that shit down,
Wow.
But those were the days, man. Those were the session days on the Gap Band records. All those records were spontaneous records. Nothing was planned. Nothing was planned.
Man, your best stuff is put together that way, man. Definitely.
Not once. I don't think. Well, some of the songs were planned out. Like my song was planned out because I did it at home on the 2-track, and I came down to the studio with one day, and Charlie used to tell us all the time, y'all want to get paid, y'all better write some songs. I went home and wrote a song, outstanding, and I came to the studio with a cassette, and Charlie was in the control room, and I say, man, listen to this cassette, and he's like, oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that shit. Going in there. I ain't gonna tell you what he was doing, but going in. Hey, man, he'll own up to that shit himself.
I know.
He was like,
look, I have been backstage before y'all. I have been backstage as a kid, 12, 13, 14 years old, backstage when y'all was doing y'all thing. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Hey,
I'm gonna leave that there.
He's like, go in there and record that motherfucker. I like that. And I went in there and started with the drums. Then I put the piano down. Then I put the mini move bass part down. Then I put the string pad down. Then I put the background vocals down. Then he said, sing the lead you sang on that tape. Then I sang the lead.
Wow.
And the lead is verbatim what he's singing, other than his ad libs and other than him putting his voice on it.
Right.
But melodically, everything he said was sung, was my shit,
Wow.
And he knows it. And he knows it. That's why I got 100% writers, because
there you go.
They know they couldn't change. They can't change a word, a lyric, a melody. I had all of the melodies, and I had all the words, and I had all the tracks. So you call that if that's not 100%.
There you go. So, that's 100%.
Now I left it, after I'd done it and played, and he went in and sang a little bit on the lead, and then I left the studio and came back like 2 days later, and he had put the magic on it. He had like blessed it with the magic, with his, because he at that point he and he was really focused on really making that shit, you know, in record. You know what I'm saying?
I knew when I first.
I still didn't personally. I still didn't think it was a hit record. I didn't think it was a hit record when I first even recorded it at home. I just said, man, I got a song. Shit, let me get this motherfucker down the studio real quick.
I was 14 years old when I heard it for the first time. I was 14 years old when I heard it for the first time. As a matter of fact, how well I know the LP is that it's the last song on the first side. And as soon as that came on, it's like, boom, I knew that was a hit. Instantly.
Well, I didn't, you know, anticipate it being no hit or none of that. I just was turning in a song. You know what I'm saying, Terry? I just wanted to get have a song on the album so I could get some money. And that was my only intention. I'm serious. Just that innocent, man. I didn't think it was gonna be no #1 record and shit. I think that record went to #1 in shit 8 weeks or some shit.
Yeah.
And the audience forced them to play Outstanding.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, the audience, from what I hear, and what I said before, what I hear, and I know you like, what do you mean you hear? Wasn't you there? No, I wasn't. And I'll tell you why I wasn't there.
Wow.
Because after I recorded Outstanding, turned it in, and I was sitting around in LA, and Charlie and them didn't want to tour. They were busy doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do or whatever. And meanwhile, Total Experience wasn't taking care of us. They wasn't feeding our families. I had a brand new little girl. You know what I'm saying? I had to take care of my wife and my kids.
Right.
So I met a guy named Dean Gant, God rest his soul. I met him through Johnny Graham. I met him over at Johnny Graham's house one day. You know who Johnny Graham is?
Johnny Graham, guitarist for Earth, Wind & Fire.
Guitar player for Earth, Wind & Fire. I used to go over there and do sessions with Johnny all the time. So I met out Dean Gant. Dean said, hey, man, I got a buddy of mine in New York that's part of a production team, and he's putting a band together because he got a 3-package deal over at Warner Brothers. And I was like, well, who's that? He said, Reggie Lucas. I said, you talking about Entombed Lucas? He said, yeah, Entombed Lucas. So he said, yeah, he might want you to be in the band. And I think Dean's motivation was when I let him hear this cassette of Outstanding, he was like, oh shit, this dude can go over there and write some shit for them. So so he let Reggie and Entombed hear Outstanding that was coming out on the Gap Band record. So Entombed called me up, and Reggie called me up and said, hey man, we want you to come out to New York and be a part of Sunfire. This band, Reggie's got a deal over at Warner Brothers for a 3-act deal.
Wow.
It was us, Sunfire, this guy named Mark Sudane, and the 3rd act was Madonna.
Wow. Ain't that some shit?
hey, I tell you what, research it.
Wow. That's
as I say, Google it.
Yeah, Google it. Yeah. Wow.
So Madonna was a part of Reggie's 3-act deal of Warner Brothers.
Wow.
And I met her when she was a nobody in the studio, coming around listening to us record.
Wow.
And so I left the band. I left the Gap Band because they offered me, you know, $10,000-$15,000 to come out there and record. And then I started playing on the Spinners, Stephanie Mills, all these acts that they were producing. I started playing drums on the tracks and stuff. Me and Howard King, the other guy, played drums out there.
You got family.
I had to feed my family, bro.
Yeah.
Charlie and they were pissed off at that shit. They were real mad about that. So they went out on tour while I was up in New York doing my own deal with Reggie Lucas and my band Sunfire with Reggie.
Right.
So they'd be on tour, and I heard that be doing shows, and they'd be finished playing. You dropped a bomb on me, or something, or burn rubber, or whatever, some shit. And they get ready to exit the stage, but the audience would be screaming Outstanding.
Wow.
Yeah, the audience was like, play Outstanding, play, screaming that shit.
Wow.
And wouldn't let them leave without playing. So they realized, hey man, we need to play this shit fucking every night. And then radio caught on to it.
Yeah.
And then when radio
ain't
got
never
a
let
hold
go
of
of
it,
it.
when radio got a hold of it, it was gone.
Yeah, it ain't never let go of it.
People like Frankie Crocker,
the Chief Rocker.
You know, Frankie Crocker walked up to me one day when we were in New York at the Madison Square Garden, and he you know, just some kid and shit. You know, I'm like, who's this big tall dude, handsome nigga, just walking up to me. You know, walking up to me instead of walking up to Charlie, and he walked up to me and said, hey, you wrote this song, Outstanding? And I was like, yes, sir, Mr. Crocker. He's like, yeah, man, it's one of my favorite songs, man. He shook my hand, and never need I know that handshake, he broke my record.
Yeah. I had a chance to meet Frankie Crocker before he passed, man. And it was really funny. We were at some music convention. This is like 1999 or something around that time. And I was watching a lot of hip hop cats walking around in the artists. They really didn't know who he was. And, you know, I saw this look on his face as he was getting ready to leave out after he got off the podium, because what he was doing was introducing Roy Ayers. And after Roy came on stage and everything, he, you know, he started walking off and all that kind of stuff like that. And someone's like, I got to go talk to him. So I'm yelling across the little area, Mr. Crocker, can I, you know, ask you a question for 5 minutes? And just, you know, let's talk for 5 minutes. Man, that turned into a 4-hour conversation. It was like I saw some life kind of come out of him then, but when I guess for me being a kid at the time, well, not a kid, but I'm around 30 years old, and I know who he was, and wanting to talk to him and recognizing him, I guess that kind of lit a fire up under me. So that was definitely a special memory I had. I wish I would have took a photo of that moment, but that was definitely one of my favorite moments to actually see a hero of mine, you know?
Yeah, man. He's a hero to a lot of, you know, radio people. You know, Frankie Crocker was, BLS was like the station on the East Coast in New York. And he was a good cat. He was very approachable too, you know.
Very much.
I would see him later on a lot of times in the years to come. Yeah. He still was a very approachable guy, you know, about it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I went to do that with them, and Charlie and them weren't too happy about it. One thing led to another with my relationship with Reggie Lucas and Entombed.
Mm-hmm.
After our band Sunfire, we did well overseas, but we didn't do well here in the States.
Right.
And then Madonna started taking off, so Reggie focused his time in trying to develop Madonna's stuff. So we didn't do well, Sunfire. Right. So I came back to LA, and by then, Outstanding was like almost about a week or two away from being number one.
Wow.
And then when it became number one, Charlie and them let me back in the band.
It's your song.
And hey, they let me back in the band, and then I got back in the band and started touring with them again. You know what I'm saying? And they said, "Give me another Outstanding," and I said, "Okay." I found my baby.
Gap Band 6.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just said, yeah. All I could give you some what I think sound like that. And I came up with that shit.
Hey, it got radio play.
Like a number 8 record. It got number 8 on the R&B charts.
Yeah.
And you know, so it sounded just like Outstanding kind of, but shit.
Same key.
They said, give me another out. Back in them days, I remember, if you remember, a lot of people would write a song that was very similar to the other one they had that was a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Back in those days, in the 80s. That was like a little trend, you know what I'm saying?
It was started a lot of the cookie cutter stuff now, but there was some sort of a trend back in the days. But I got one last question for you, man.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna say this boldly: R&B is alive and well, except we're not singing it. You follow what I'm saying on that?
We're not what again? You broke.
R&B.
Say that again. Say it one more time.
R&B is alive and well, but we're not singing.
When you say we're not singing, white people are singing.
Precisely.
BLT, BTS. Is that what they call BLT, BTS? I mean, I heard they wasn't even singing on that.
A lot of stuff's programmed, man.
I'm just saying, I read that just the other night.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff's programmed. So I have this thing to where I just said, huh?
Say that
Said
again.
no, I said I was making note that um R&B is, I mean, America still loves R&B. They just don't want to see us singing it.
No, they
You
don't want
know,
to. They think they own it now
and that's
because of
that's a hard pill to swallow.
Justin Timberlake.
Another bridge.
One of the Jonas brothers thought he was sexy as Justin and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's all good though, man, because the history books will show the truth about it all.
So that
And
kind of means.
hopefully,
So would you think that means we need to focus more on our production skills, our writing skills, and that if we're not going to get in front of the camera and sing, or in front of on front of the stage and sing it, then we need to focus on continuing writing the songs?
I think that's the key right there. I think a hit song is a hit song regardless of who wrote it, black or white. And I think it's undeniable whether who wrote it, black, if it's a black or white person that wrote it. And I think that if you're a hit songwriter, you can write for black or white.
It's been proven.
And they gonna respect you for that. Especially if you write them a hit record.
Yeah.
And we just gotta hope that eventually, the way this Black Lives Matter things, comes around, that black music is real. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you got Sly Stone behind you, and
that's Sly, yeah. And I got Miles Davis over there.
There you go.
I got kings. matching prints of two different genres and two different kings. It's kind of I draw off of that inspiration. In my studio, but like I said, I just hope it turns around. I think that people like Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak are trying to show, come on, let's give some homage at the same time. They're trying to, get theirs from ours. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get theirs from ours.
Right. Well, Bruno's doing.
So I ain't got no. Yeah, but he had to go get a brother like Anderson .Paak, to bring, help bring that funk in there with it. What I'm saying? Anderson .Paak is funky. You know what I'm saying? So
there you go.
So I ain't mad at him, and I just wish that it was like that, easy as that as it is for them. If it was that easy for us back in the day, to be, especially on the crossover tip,
right.
The world tip,
man. Well, look, Calhoun, I appreciate you, brother. We've been friends for a long time, brother, and I appreciate you. I wanted the public to see your perspective of how music was from back in the days. And because I get asked a lot of, about who I know, who I've, done things with or whatever. And it's like, I can tell you some stories, but I'm afraid I'm always respectful of it, because I'm like, I don't want nobody saying I said nothing wrong. So I'm like, let me give you directly to the people who lived it. So I appreciate you coming on and being on Off the Record today, man. I appreciate you. I hope everything work out on that shot. And
so, hey, right now it ain't sore.
Okay.
I'm gonna ice it when it ain't sore, so I don't really need to ice it, but I encourage every black person. I mean, we all scared of it, but
I'd rather have a hurt arm than to be 6 feet under right now.
I don't know how many friends you've lost, but I've lost a lot to COVID.
Yeah, I lost a good chunk, man.
So that tells you that, it's real. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you whether or not you want to live it or not. You know what I'm saying? So I just decided in my life, look, I'll take my chance. I take my chances with everything else.
Yeah.
I take my chances every time I get on an airplane.
There you go. Or send your drone out.
You see my video? You see my video when I went drone? I had my, I have this drone right now that follow you, Terry. That will literally follow you.
Yes.
And so I go mountain biking, right? And I was mountain biking, and the drone was following me and shit. And I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's following this shit out of me, ain't it? Watching everything I do. And I had a crash. I had a flame out, right? A crash. Like I'm talking about me crash, not the drone. Me.
Yeah.
And the motherfucking drone, like, it caught the whole entire crash.
Wow.
In frame, every shot, me tumbling, it didn't lose a beat.
Wow.
And after I crashed and I'm on the ground and I just look up at it, it's sitting there going, watching me. Like it want to say, do you need some help, bro? And that shit caught everything, bro. I was like, oh my God, this drone is so off the chain. Wow. I mean, I got a bunch of drones, now, but this is the best one. And it is absolutely amazing. I can never wait until the weather gets good so I can go and take that sucker out and use it for some other stuff. But it's an amazing piece of, and it was made in the USA, Terry.
What kind of drone is it?
It's called a Skydio 2.
Skydio 2. Okay. Just be careful.
Skydio 2.
Please be careful.
Oh, I ain't worried about that. That thing right there is uncrashable.
I'm talking about you.
Crash.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, me. Yeah. Yeah, when I fell, I hit I don't know if you saw that video, but I hit my head first. Thank God I had a helmet on.
Yes.
And I tumbled like blue. And I got my ass up.
That's
being strong, got up. I didn't want to be on the ground while the drone was like filming me for 6 o'clock news and some shit.
Yeah.
But no, it's a fun toy, man, and I'm safe. I'm safe, believe me.
Okay.
I'm
so check it out.
safe.
So you're on the road. When we can get back on the road and tour again, you're going on the road with the Dad's Band.
Right. I've been doing the Dad's Band now for a while.
Okay. How is that whole experience going for you these days?
Oh, that's great, man. Dad's Band, Bobby, Skip. Yeah. The whole thing is just, they cool brothers, man. Bobby.
I got to link up with Skip soon, man, because it's I know he's got a couple of projects. I got to link up with Skip real soon.
If you want me to hook you up with Bobby so you can interview him, I can do that too.
I love that.
Bobby's the leader of the Dad's Band, so he's a good guy to talk to. He's very knowledgeable about this whole thing.
I was just talking to a couple of cats earlier about everybody knows I'm a music glossary, so I know a lot of hits about stuff and a lot of the backstory about stuff. So I'm like, the Dad's Band, before they were the Dad's Band, they were Kingsman Daz and all that,
right,
produced by Philip Bailey and stuff like that. So I'm like, but I talk too much. So I wasn't good in school and anything else.
Right. Hey, me and you both, bro. I'm like, they call me Joe Biden now. I just be rambling and shit. Hey, but hey man, ain't nobody gonna promote you but you. Remember that.
There you go. Exactly. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Calhoun, man. I love you, brother. I appreciate you for coming on, hanging out with me with Off the Record with Terry Franks. So, ladies and gentlemen, my man Raymond Calhoun.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, my brother.